this is really the work. The result of this is of 20 years work, you know, and a very at the beginning. I tried to get an assignment from a magazine, from Stern magazine, but I never get out of the story. And then I had a permanent exhibition in the Neue Synagoge in Berlin for 8 years with just 10 pictures, but the pictures represented the contemporary Jewish life. So then I was asked by the Jewish Museum in Berlin if I could do something especially on the Russian migrants. So I always continued working. There were some years I had nothing to do, but I was always in contact with my people, you know. And so step by step on 20 years, I really was involved. And involved is in this way a good word, you know. It is. Some people think, how can you get so close to the people? And you only can do this if you do not handle as a photographer. First is the person. You have to bring yourself into it with your own biography, with your own story, with your own background, with your own questions. And if you bring this, the camera doesn't mean it's me, it's the person, it's not the photographer. And this is, in German I say partizipierende Fotografie, and you have to participate with your photography. So you have to become a part of that, what you are documenting. So it has to do something with, so am I a photographer, or I would always say it's more or less a storytelling photography. So every single picture should have its own context, its own story. And then you bring many stories together. And so that's the way you come to such an exhibition. You cannot plan it, you know. It is not so difficult, but it's not easy. Like, you know, this is. So I never had people who said, "Oh no, please." No. Now I have one family. They don't want to have their name and their pictures in the exhibition anymore. It's just one family, and this is to do with the Russian-Ukrainian crisis.
Mm.
You know, it's a contemporary political conflict, where they decided not to be part of the exhibition anymore. So we have to respect that. So, but everybody else was very open-minded.
And what impressed you more about the Jews?
The humor.
Yes.
The best Jewish jokes I ever heard in my life. I will not tell the one I know is the best.
Please tell
no,
it.
he's too long. It's just like a priest and a rabbi in a train. What can you be after you're a priest, and how can you can be a bishop and all this, you know?
Uh-huh.
And at the end, the rabbi says. The Christ says, yes, I could be Pope, but it's nobody, no, because you are the representative of God on earth. And then the Jew said, you see, somebody of us. Was it because Jesus was a Jew, you know? So this and so many other, not only the jokes, but it's. What impressed me is the meaning of education, which is traditional because of the long story of anti-Semitism, also in the past centuries, the Jewish always say you have to be very good to make your way. You have to be very, very well educated, and but not in a way with this discipline. How I maybe know from Germans, you know, you have to be. It is all very more. How could I say? It's not difficult to explain this in English. It is open, more open-minded. It is like the ceremony in the synagogue, you know. In the liberal synagogue in Berlin, the kids were jumping around.
In all synagogues.
It's always, it's loud. They are shouting, and the rabbi says, "Come on, Moshe, please take your kid away. He's destroying everything." And so it is very easy going. I know Judaism is not Judaism. You know, there's also different. Forms of religious understanding, but my experience in Berlin was very liberal Jewish understanding, and that was very impressive.
And we have something called David's German Star. David's German Star.
Yes, Davids Deutsche Sterne is. I had a big magazine piece in a magazine called Geo. It was 1995 in the May issue. So it was the reopening of the Neue Synagoge in Berlin, which is the cultural heritage of the Berlin Jewish community. And now it is a center of the center of the community is now there, and there is also exhibition about Berlin or German Jewish life. So I had this piece, and the magazine decided this title, Davids Deutsche Sterne, and David Stern and the 5 stars, they have a special meaning in the Jewish tradition or in the Jewish meaning. So they decided to say these are the David's German stars. So these are the representatives of David in Germany. So that was the meaning. I took this title quite a long time with me for my story, for my thinking, but from the point where I was collaborating with the Jewish Museum, it took me quite a while to get rid of this, and now this story is.
It was like your star, your yellow star.
I don't think that this was the background of this thinking for this title of the magazine piece. I think it was more or less the David Stern. And that is also a part of the Israel flag. And I thought never in the context of the yellow the Stern from the Nazi regime. This is not the context how I thought about it. For me, it's the biggest honor for me is to be a part of the collection of the Jewish Museum. I mean, what else nothing can be better than this for me, because they take care of the pictures. So this was a very big change for the Jewish community, this time between in the 19th, when the Jewish life began to grow again. Before, the Jewish communities I remember there was I don't know in which community, there was one Jew left. All the others died or were gone, and the families were gone were in Auschwitz, or they lost their families, or they went to Israel, they left Germany, and some people stood in Germany for different reasons. And so it was the migration of this Jewish people, Russian Jews, is responsible for the surviving of Jewish life in Germany, and is such a rich culture. It's not only, I mean, we have so many intellectual people, musicians, so many actors, writers, composers, whatever, not only now, but also, you know, how many of these, which is the German culture, were Jews. So this is the basis of what the German culture is, the Jewish culture. And so now there are so many people coming back, and it's
also Israelis, no?
And also there are more Israelis in Berlin than members of the Jewish community. I mean, this is an influence of ours. This is great. You know, if they are religious or not, they don't care. So it's great they are here. It's there. So that shows that their view on Germany surely changed. And these 10 years are very important for this new understanding, that the understanding of Jewish life came. We ever have to take the responsibility of what happened, but there is something new also from my generation or the younger generations, that it's not only with a stamp of the Holocaust. We will never forget, we should never forget, but there is something new, and this is very important, that the younger generations start to communicate open-minded about the past, about their personal interest now, about future. That means we should never forget, but we should not always only do something under this shadow. It is there. We cannot disappear for it. So let's be responsible. Take it with responsibility, and I think this is very important. So.
But they say that Nazism is coming back to Germany.
This is the Nazism coming back to Germany. I would never say it like this. Maybe it's something. It looks like, well, it depends on how the media is working. You know, it is. Today we have 50, 70, 80 channels plus the internet. So, is that a picture of the reality? Yes, we have problems with right wings. Yes, we have people who are looking for responsible things against Muslims, against Jewish, against everybody, but not looking to themselves. Everybody should also look to himself. That first you're responsible for your life by yourself. So, and then we have that what we call Rattenfänger. This Rattenfänger is, I don't know how to explain this in English. So they give the people the right thoughts to say, oh, he is responsible. So these can be a party, this is very similar to why are so many people, young Germans, or if with or without migration background, are going to Syria to fight for IS? You know? Because somebody has influence into their minds, and people are looking for meaning maybe. And these people are Rattenfänger. They know where they should connect to these people who are looking for identity, for example. So this is I don't think this is a special German problem. You also have this in France and Belgium. You have it everyone. We should take care that the right wing or the very right conservatives, but we only can fight them by arguments and not by. We should talk. We should hear what they have to tell us. We should listen to their problems. And only if we listen to the problems of these people who are looking for something which gives them identity, maybe then we or the societies can solve the problem, which is first of all a problem of information, of education. So I think this book can be something like a school book. No, if there's somebody looking inside who has no idea of Judaism, he will maybe, I don't know, this is not my motivation for the book, but maybe he thinks, what's bad on Judaism, on religion, on traditions, on how they celebrate their community. And not only thinking everything under the term of religion. It's the identification.
The culture.
The culture. The tradition. So I think this is something which an exhibition can be. And I think this is, here in this building, here in this museum, to be myself, many school classes are coming. So let they look to the pictures. They know nothing about Judaism or about the Jewish community. Judaism is much too big. Just about the Jewish community, how they celebrate, how they celebrate their traditions, the religion questions. So I think they can learn, and if they learn something and somebody else will say, oh, the Jewish, they say, no, I saw pictures, it's not true what you say.
And have you had a chance to take pictures here in the synagogue or
Yes.
in other synagogues in Mexico?
No. The time is too short, and but I'm very interested also by the architecture here, which I like very much. Is this 60 years architecture? It's very modern, and no, for me, more or less, this it will never be finished for me because this story, but it is not anymore in my focus. I really had to finish it. It's done, and now for me it's important to yes, maybe to speak, to describe. Most people want to know why. Me as a guy was so much interested, and I think in a way it's just simple is because I was interested in. It's not, you have to be interested in.
Because you were a migrant too.
Not a migrant, we were living in the German community in England, but my father went there 7 years. He was he was a prisoner of war. So that's where he learned English. That was why he was selected to go to Great Britain. And then he became a migrant as a German, so short time after the Second World War. I mean, sure, you cannot say I have nothing to do with that. He was a soldier, he fought against the British. Our neighbor was an engineer. He was building the Lancaster bombers. They were sitting in the kitchen and discussing. It was very.
It is like a generation that was marked by war.
They were marked, and there were also that was their traumata, and they had to deal with their own traumata. And then coming back in a destroyed country, and then everybody was saying, you are guilty. So I understand this, but it doesn't mean that you don't have to take the responsibility. You know, I understand that was for many quite difficult. You know, it is.
Yes, because as a German, it is hard to look behind and say we did that.
You cannot. Even me, I was. You cannot say it was the war.
Well, a little bit, yes.
Yeah, but not if you know. The Wannsee Conference was before war. It has nothing to do with the war. Is to destroy the Jewish life in Germany, or to just how you say, disappear it from German cultural life with all the background. That has nothing to do with the war. It was decided before.
How do you explain that?
I think that the Germans after the Weimar Republic were really in a constitution where they really, and that is maybe something where you see similarities, that people are looking for strong men. You know, that is where I say, let's take care today. There are so many people running around these days in the world and trying to be big boss and strong man, and I know what's going on. And so the Weimar Republic, with all this mess of political democratic system with the communists, the Central, or with the social democrats and the world economic crisis 27, which was also the worldwide crisis, the bank crashes and all so they were looking like after they were, and the Germans from their tradition, the military tradition in these days, they were very open-minded to these and there was somebody who said, I can solve the problems, and that was also a right thing, and the propaganda, you know.
Because sometimes I ask the Holocaust survivors, do you have an explanation for what happened? And they say, no, we don't understand.
No, it is just, you cannot have an explanation for that. You cannot explain. You just can, in the past now, look what was the political, social surrounding in these days, which were also in other countries. So you cannot say it's just the German problems. The others had also the economic problems, but they never had the idea for this industrial murder.
But it had to do with economics?
No, not only.
Because sometimes you can think also maybe it is because they needed money and the Jews had money, so because
no, it's not. No, I don't mind. I really don't mean the economics. It is not a question. The anti-Semitism was in the social community present since hundreds of years. So this is not something which were grown in the 20s or before Hitler came to power, from my understanding. But I'm not a historian. You know, this is maybe historian, if they now follow my words, they say, oh, you know, it's...
No, but you have like the way you look at things.
Yes.
It can be very interesting.
It is, I really try not, I don't want to find explanations. I just want to understand by myself. I'm talking in questions. After very sentence or behind very the sentence I say you should always see a question mark, because I never have an explanation for this. It is, you cannot explain. It is unbelievable and unexplainable. Can you say explainable? It is not. You just can look why did he come to power? Why? What was so? If he, what was the surrounding, the economic surrounding, the social surrounding after the Kaiserreich, after all the, why did the Germans were open for these political fascist system? What was the reason for that? But this is surely you can better, historians can have better answers, I'm sure. So I'm not a historian, I'm just a photographer.